And we're live. What is going on, everybody? How are you all doing? Uh, this is the normal thing now. It's turning into a normal thing to do this on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. It's been kind of fun to just come and hang out and talk about random stuff, guitar related or not, as well as, um, you know, just whatever stuff that comments that came in over the week, and pretty cool. We still have our normal live stream. We still have the normal live stream on Thursday with Leslie and news on Wednesday and all that. So you saw the thumbnail. This is an interesting one. This dude Jim Lill in Nashville. Now I've reached out to him personally because when I talk about his stuff, I don't just go off about somebody's video without talking to him about it first, because I didn't this time, but the last time I did, because I want to do the right thing and be cool about it. This video, if you did your homework like we posted yesterday and watched the Jim Lill Where Do Amps Get Their Tone video, we're going to dive into this a little bit. We're also going to talk about Gibson today. There is a really cool podcast I'm going to turn you on to if you haven't heard it before, that you need to listen to, definitely. And then I am going to also, I guess those are the two main things. The other thing I want to tell you before we get started is, since we don't have sponsorships and we haven't up until this point anyway, done all that stuff, I'll just tell you every once in a while about some stuff that we've got going. One thing is, you can go in the description of this video below, and there is a video to Close Guitars, those carbon fiber travel guitars. They've got wood and carbon fiber, like a wood neck and a carbon fiber body. They've got a bunch of stuff. They've got electric guitars now. If you use the code TONE10, it's all down there. You'll get 10% off, and go check them out. They're really cool. I have one, and I love it, and I will probably do some more videos with them in the future. They're really, really cool guys, so make sure you check it out. Okay, so let's chat a little bit about, let's talk about Gibson first. So on the Tone Mob podcast with Blake Wyland today, you should definitely go check out the Tone Mob podcast. First of all, it's a cool podcast. He's been, I don't know how many hundreds of episodes he has, but he's been doing it for a long time, and he's really good. And he's got some really good people from week to week on there, talking about all kinds of stuff. They get off topic, they get on. They're really cool guys. I've been on it once, and he's been on mine, and he's a good dude. Anyway, it's really cool. He's actually partners in Stringjoy, the string company. Really cool guy. Anyway, he had Mark Agnesi on this week, which I thought was a pretty cool get. And I was really interested to hear Mark Agnesi's perspective on, honestly, everything. Because a lot of people would take the, whatever that video is that everybody thought was so stupid, and just say, okay, this dude must be a jerk. Or because he wears a black leather jacket all the time, that he must be a jerk. Or that he is pretty outspoken and says whatever he wants and doesn't really care, that he must be a jerk. I get the feeling. I understand where that feeling comes from, because I get that a lot myself. But I will tell you, this dude sounded pretty cool. Been playing guitar since he was a kid. Really busted his hump and made his way himself, and ended up at Gibson. And one of the questions Blake asked him from Blake's Facebook group was, are you going to make new stuff? Is there going to be any new stuff? Is there going to be new guitars? Or are we just going to keep getting Les Pauls and stuff? And he said, here's the problem. He said, we're stuck in between a thing, because if we make, he said, I'm assuming that means people want new shapes. He's like, we came out with the Theodore this year, and people had a lot to say about that. And he's like, and then we find out that they just want Les Pauls. So the same person that wants something new doesn't really want something new. They just want something old. And Blake asked him about reaching out to younger players. And he was like, younger players want Les Pauls and SGs and Flying Vs and Strats and Tellys, the same thing that older players want. It's not going away, which is really, really interesting. And he's like, and we can tell by the sales numbers, obviously. So we're going to give you what you want. And we can look at the sales numbers and we can say, this is what we're building because this is what we're selling. And he's like, and if you want some wacky shape, there's other guitar brands out there that make that, but this is what Gibson does. And I really thought that was really cool. I really liked that perspective that it's just, you just do you. Whatever your company is, that's what you do. We do the same thing around here. I say no to stuff all the time. And we get people asking us, you know, hey, are you going to do this? Are you going to get into that? Are you going to, why don't you do this? And I'm like, because I don't want to, because I don't like it. I don't like it. Noiseless pickups, for example. A, I don't like it, and B, I just don't think they really do that well. So I don't really care. I don't want to do it. And I think it's okay to not be a jerk about it, but definitely hold fast to the brand ideals of whatever they are. And hearing that podcast today, I really was stoked about that. It was really cool to hear that. I would love to hang out with him. I think he'd be a really cool dude. One of the things he talked about was really enjoying taking kids in the vault to really make their day, you know, give them something to remember. That's really, really neat. So I really, really liked that. Oh, the other thing somebody asked me last week in the comments was, where did I get this mug? I put a link to it in the description. I love this thing. I've been using the heck out of it. So anyway, I just think it's really cool. There's a really awesome, sorry, I'm just going through here and seeing what everybody's saying. I just thought it was a really cool video, and I thought it was really something that, a really cool podcast. And I think everybody who hates on Gibson unnecessarily, because you're doing it unnecessarily at this point. I'm just not gonna lie. You're doing it unnecessarily. Whether you like to hear that or agree with it or not, I'm right. You're doing it unnecessarily. And I will hold to that. That's one of those things I will hold to. I think it's wrong. This is obviously an opinion, but I think it's wrong. I'm going to anyway. Just look at every brand as they are and understand what they are and enjoy what they do. That's good. And if they've got a clunker once in a while, they've got a clunker once in a while. All the brands have it. I want to be known when I die for the things that I liked, not the things that I didn't like. And so that's kind of been changing some stuff around here, the way we do stuff. I just don't want to hate on stuff. It's not a cool thing to be known for. And you're not cool if that's all you're known for either. I just think it's, more positive way of thinking. Anyway, that was a really cool podcast. Really dug it a lot. Brian Phelps, well, they are in Sweetwater's top 5 sellers. They are. Exactly. That actually leads me to one of the comments that came from that video that we talked about on Thursday. Somebody actually asked, hang on one second, I'm going to find it here. Somebody said, the Gibson Les Paul coming in at number 2 isn't a surprise to me. Most of the buyers aren't professional players. I think that's true. But you have to remember that probably less than 10%, probably 5 to 10% are actually professionals that make a living with music. Probably even less than that. I would imagine it's less than that. The majority of us are hobbyists. We don't make money playing the guitar. So this is a stupid comment, honestly. I mean, I understand. Okay, it's not a stupid comment. I understand the sentiment. But when you flip that around to the positive side, you start to realize that it's cool that most of us are not professional players. When I was in the power sports industry designing dirt bike stuff, I always talked about this 90-10-5 thing. That 90% of the money spent on any hobby, this could be any hobby, it could be mountain bike stuff, it could be RC cars, it could be knives, It could be whatever it is. It could be anything you want. Guitars, doesn't matter. 90% of the money is spent to get the last 10% of performance out of something that only 5% of the population will actually ever appreciate, which is an interesting segue into our subject today, because that's exactly what happens when we go down this gear buying rabbit hole. So the fact that Gibson, the majority of Gibson Les Pauls are bought by amateurs is actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all. And maybe he was implying that they didn't know what they were talking about or something, but I believe that I don't care how much your guitar costs. I don't care how much your guitar costs. If it's $200 or if it's $20,000, it doesn't matter to me. Just play the thing and enjoy it. And if you don't know how to play, buy whatever guitar you want. This whole I don't deserve this particular guitar, or he doesn't deserve this particular guitar, or the stupid meme with the old guy playing the cup of coffee or drinking the cup of coffee. And he's like, this, when a guy doesn't know how to play guitar but buys it, that's all stupid. Buy whatever you want. Yeah, buy whatever you want for sure. And then the other thing that came up in the comments this week was the reason Gibson Les Pauls are in the top 5 sellers at Sweetwater is because they're so hard to get at local dealers. The trick there is local dealers are going to stock what they can sell. In your town, USA, or around the world, wherever you're listening from. I think I saw some people here from India. We've got some people from Canada. We've got some people from... would you buy 5 $200 guitars or one $1,000 guitar? That is the easiest answer ever. I would buy one $1,000 guitar. Why buy 5 crappy guitars? And I know you're going to jump in the comments and say, you're assuming that all $200 guitars are crappy. Yes, I am. Yep. And I'm going to do a video about that, actually. I want to do a video about, I don't care what I don't care what Harley Benton, I don't care what Squier, I don't care what whatever. There are things on a $1,000 guitar or a $2,000. Actually, in 2022, the number is really $1,500 to $2,000. There are things that will never be good enough, ever on a $200 guitar. Hardware quality, the hardness of screws, the hardness of frets, the quality of nuts, the quality of machines like tuners, all those things will always be subpar on a $200 guitar as in comparison to a $1,000, $1,500, or a $2,000 guitar. Always, 100%. It will never be equal. So these people that say this Squier is just as... No, it's not. No, it's not. I just bought 4 Squiers, and I can tell you, they're great guitars. But there's some garbage on them too. The next video coming out, your Squier lovers aren't going to like it. I'll tell you that right now. A lot of harsh reality so far. Holy crap. Yeah. Buy one good guitar. Buy one good guitar. For sure. Okay, so let's talk about this Jim Lill thing, because I want to get in the comments here. We've only been talking for 15 minutes. I usually go for about an hour, so hopefully you guys have some things to chat about. If you have questions, about guitar stuff in general, put it in the comments. I'll try to find it. I'm by myself. It will help if you use the super chat, because I can't really see all this stuff. And, I am a Squier lover too, Joe Johnson. I just bought 4 of them for videos, But am I going to play one as my main guitar? No. I'm going to buy a good guitar, and I'm going to play a good guitar. But the Squiers are so cool because what they do... I should just do a whole video on this. The purpose of a cheap guitar, okay? I don't even know if I want to get into this right now, because I want to do a video about it. Okay, screw it. Okay. The purpose of a cheap guitar, in the reason they're made, the reason a cheap guitar is made, so the reason Squiers are made, even the reason Harley Bentons are, well, Harley Benton's different. I believe that that's exploiting a particular cheap-ass audience. Okay, that's a different thing. So, but let's look at Epiphone, Squier, low-end Ibanez's, any price point guitars, part of a bigger brand. The reason they're made is not so a guy can have 5 of them instead of having one expensive guitar. These brands put these price points in at particular points so that they can build lifelong customers. The reason there is a $150 3/4 scale Stratocaster in pink and in black, and the reason there is a 3/4 scale SG and Les Paul now, Epiphone, for $279, is so that they can start with a little kid, your little kid, and they can say, now I have a guitar like Dad's, and it looks like Dad's, and it plays like, or Mom's, and it plays like Dad's or Mom's, and it, it works. And then the $200 guitar is for the holiday present or for the otherwise whatever present, for somebody who's like, I'd really like to play electric guitar, but I don't want to commit to it yet because this is a new hobby for me. There's where your Affinity Squier comes in. And then along the way, from $299 to $599 to $699 to $799 to $899, it's actually really like $299, $599, $849, $1249, $1749, and then like over $2,000. That is an actual aspirational ladder of quality that each of these brands is trying to capture in every person. They're trying to make a loyal customer of you who is going to climb that ladder as it is attainable. The reason they are built to a price is because they're trying to hit this price point so that each person can afford every level of this aspirational ladder. They know that a beginner guitar player who cannot mentally commit, there's some of you in the comments that are like, my limit is $1,000. All right, I'm never going to buy a brand new Les Paul because it's $2,800. I'm never going to do that. I just don't want to do it. Totally cool. That's why these brands are like, we want to put a guitar at $599, $299, $599, $849, $1099, and they put them at $1249. So you $1,000 guys go, oh, yeah, but this one has noiseless pickups, or this one has the next level cool bridge, or this has whatever, and then you reach a little and you get that $1249 guitar. It's an aspirational thing. Remember, this is a hobby. We are building stuff that we want to do and have fun doing for the rest of our lives. This is not like, I'm not willing to spend extra money for brand name Q-tips, so I'm going to get Kroger brand Q-tips. That's how some people sound when they say, I want 5 Squiers instead of one good guitar. You're treating your hobby and the thing that you should love as a commodity, as toilet paper, as Kleenex, as, I hate spending money on underwear, but you have to because it's necessary so you can be comfortable, right? Like, there's certain things you hate spending money on. Why does it have to be $14.99? Why can't it be $5.99? I don't know. That's why you go to TJ Maxx. I'm just saying, off topic, but you get my point. When we have a hobby, we just do it because we love it, and that is what's really, really, really important. Why continue the mindset in Facebook groups and everywhere else of building down to a price or buying down to a price? Why not aspire to have a particular instrument and have it, no matter what the price point is? Don't look for value in it. Don't look for, like, well, this one has this particular thing and this one doesn't. Just buy it if you like it. Just buy it if you like it. Don't treat it like Kleenex. Don't treat it like a value proposition. Now, I know people are going to get in the comments and talk about resale value. I get that too if you're trying to flip into the next thing and flip into the next thing and flip into the next thing. In that case, I would say don't buy brand new instruments for the ones that you're going to flip. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. If I would, let's say I was going to save up more or less, or work my way into. Okay, let's use Les Paul for example. $20.99, right? And so you would, buy and sell gear, right? Maybe it takes 2 or 3 years or 5 years to buy and sell gear to get to the point where you can afford that thing. Chances are, if you're going to go down that road, if I was you or me, or wouldn't you do this? Probably. Just get in the comments and let me know. You'd probably buy used gear to do that, right? Like you would buy, I'd try this used pedal that maybe I don't really like it, but I want to try it anyway. But then I flip it and then I hold that money aside. Then I flip this other Epiphone thing and I hold it aside. And then I flip whatever. And then you save up for the Les Paul. But when you get the guitar that you really, really want, then maybe you buy a brand new one. I don't know. You might do it different. Let me know in the comments what you do. But it should be an aspirational thing. This is not a value. It's not. Don't make your guitars toilet paper and Kleenex. I mean, it's just kind of funny to me. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's really, really an interesting thing. So let's get to this Jim Lill thing because he kind of got to the same conclusion. I don't know if y'all got to watch that video. Hopefully some of you did. About where tone comes in an amp, because tone comes from an amp. It was really interesting that he was able to find examples of rectifiers, preamps, and all of basically the stages of the amp and be able to isolate them. The only criticism, it's not even a criticism, it's more about an observation, is like some of those Egnators and some of those other amps where he could like switch between, what was it, like cathode biased and not, like the biased versus the two different biases, the two different rectifiers. I'm not sure that the changes that are made in the amp are only that, because I'm not sure, and I'm going to say what he said. I'm just a guy with a camera. I am not a circuit designer, although I am, but not those kind of circuits. Anyway, I'm not sure about amp stuff, so I'll just say this. But I'm pretty sure that in order to make a different bias type work or a different rectifier work, that a couple other things need to change in the circuit. But I get the point of what he said, and it does make sense. And when you heard those ABs, if you heard those A/B tests that he did, they were really, really, really close. I listened to them on my headphones. I listened to them with my monitors. I watched that video twice, and I was like, he makes a point here that the tone stack and the speaker really is the only thing that matters. My favorite thing he said in the video was, why don't we have a treble knob group on Facebook? I thought that was the funniest forum. Why don't we have a treble knob forum? I was like, this is hilarious. So freaking funny. Let's see. Yeah, that tackle box thing was pretty crazy, right? I just really, really appreciated his approach, even if it wasn't perfectly executed. Because one of my things about all of this stuff is, if I can't hear a difference in between two things in passing, it's not worth it. If I have to, you know, because I get these comments in my YouTube videos all the time. Well, I went home and I couldn't hear a difference on my phone. But then when I went home and I listened to my monitors and I messed around with and I ran it through like they say all these things, right? And I could kind of hear a difference. So therefore, you're wrong. If you have to like put headphones on, get in full on isolation and be like, I can sort of hear a difference. Kind of. Or is that me telling myself that I'm hearing a difference because I want to be right about this? I'm not really sure. If you have to think that hard, then it's not worth it. Because don't you want. Okay. This comes back to the point of playing guitar. The point is not what capacitor it is or what pot it is or being right on a forum on the internet. Don't you want to slam a chord and go, well, dang, this sounds awesome and it makes me feel fuzzy inside when I stand in front of this amp and I slam this chord? Or I play this note, or I do this thing, or I flip to this pickup position and I play a solo and it makes me feel fuzzy inside. Like, I like this. If you have to listen so hard to hear something, the change in something, it's not going to give you that fuzzy feeling whether you make that change or not. It just isn't. Like, in the power sports industry, we used to call that tuning yourself to a standstill. Because people would spend so much time and money on their bikes and doing all these little things that they would spend more time playing with the thing to get it perfect or to get it better. And it was this much better, but they were spending more time doing that than they were actually like riding the thing. So we would call it tuning yourself to a standstill or you would make 19 adjustments and a whole bunch of change. I don't want to get into computational fluid dynamics on a guitar podcast, but one of the things people would do is they would, for example, they would put an exhaust on a dirt bike, right? And, I don't know. At that time, we were designing stuff for FMF, so like the FMFQ tie. They'd put that on their bike, and they go, well, we need more air out. If more air is coming out, then it means I need to get more air in. Well, so I'm going to cut a big hole in my airbox. So they'd cut a big hole in their airbox, and their bike would be slower, and it would run lean, and it would stupid. Because you don't need to run a big hole in your airbox because negative pressure, blah, blah, reverse wave, all the things I don't need to get into right now. But long and short of it is they tune themselves to a standstill because of something they read on the internet. And I think a lot of times people spend way too much time doing that. And I love the myth busting thing about this video that made that so apparent. I just thought it was really, really, really cool. We get a super chat. Hang on. Sorry about missing it. Rusty Fenders. Just got a Roadworn 60 Strat online. Later I found out that this is a 725 radius. Are they bad as people say? Okay. I'm going to put this back up here. Rusty, this is a fantastic question. You know how much difference? I don't have a neck. When you, I love this question. The radius of the fretboard means that it is like a piece of a circle, right? And if you go from 7¼ inch to a 12 inch, and then you cut it down to this wide, we're talking thousandths of an inch difference at the edge of the neck. I think this is really funny because of something that I saw on Twitter today. Adam Jones from Tool gave some little kid a Les Paul because this little kid pulled off one of his solos covering it on the internet. Do you think that little kid cared what radius his fretboard was? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Just because you read it on a forum doesn't mean that it matters. Will you play the guitar differently than a 12-inch radius fretboard? Yes, for sure. Does that mean I can't play a 7 1/4 radius because blah blah blah? No, not at all, not whatsoever. I'll give you a good example. My PRS Fiore back there, I think that's a 10. It might be even a 12. I can't remember, to tell you the truth. My Silver Sky is a 7 1/4. I don't care about the radius. The radius does not make one bit of difference to me whatsoever. The neck profiles are way different. So how you hold the guitar is different because the neck profiles are different. But on the front of the neck, and if people say that they're fretting out because blah, 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 set the guitar up right and it won't do that. If you have the right guy set up your guitar, John Mayer don't fret out when he bends notes and he plays 7 1/4. And it's not because he's good, it's because the guitar is set up properly. I know, I have one. It's amazing. And it's because the guitar's set up right. So just get the guitar set up properly and you'll be fine. That's an excellent example of the questions that I'm talking about. You can bend on a 7 1/4 too. Somebody said they like 7 1/4, but they don't bend much. Why are you yelling about forums? I don't care about forums. Actually, I don't go on them. I don't really care about them. I'll tell you why I don't. Because they are really not constructive a lot of times. I feel like it's just a bunch of people trying to be right about stuff that doesn't matter, if that makes sense. But it's going to fret out because, vintage spec. Yeah, just play it, dude. Just play it. And if you do have and I'm not saying you won't have to adjust to it. When I got my first Silver Sky, I kind of didn't like it, like for the first week or so. But I kept playing it, and then the difference goes away. And that's something that I've learned. So when I'm not currently playing in a band, but when I was, basically before COVID, I would play whatever guitar I had, right? So I would go to a gig and whatever guitar I had that week, because we got guitars coming in and out of here for videos and stuff, right? So whatever I had, that's what I would play. I don't really care about, for my band anyway, it was just like a cowpunk band. So any kind of noise we made, it was no big deal. So I didn't need to have this particular tone to do this particular Allman Brothers cover or nothing. We didn't do that stuff. So I could play whatever guitar I wanted, really. And what I found was the more often I played different guitars, the easier it was to just pick up any guitar and be like, oh, this is no big deal, and just play it. If I played a 12-inch radius fretboard, which is my favorite, for a long time, and then I grabbed a 7 1/4, I'd be like, oh, this is weird for like the first 3 or 4 songs, and then I wouldn't care about it after that. But if I played a different guitar every week, like with actually a different guitar, like different scale lengths, different fretboard radiuses, different fret sizes, then the less I cared about it. The more you go down a particular direction, which I think a lot of people do, go down a particular direction and say, I can only play X or Y. I can only play thin necks. I can only play fat necks. Now, outside of like physical limitations, like some people just can't hold the particular, because their hands are small or big or whatever, But outside of that, most people will go down a particular rabbit hole of I can only play this radius. I can only play this fret size. If I play this fret size, this always happens. The more you just don't think about it and just play whatever guitar comes along, and you do it a lot, the less you'll think about it. All those studio players, like for example, like in Nashville and stuff, those dudes, you know, one day they're playing a telly, one day they're playing a 335, the next day they're playing a 50s telly, the next day they're playing a 70s telly, the next day they're playing some other kind of telly because it's Nashville. I'm just kidding. I mean, like every kind of guitar. And even when you see like rig rundowns from a lot of those guys, the studio guys, they've got every different kind of guitar, and they're always playing every different kind of guitar, and they're always good. So it's just a matter of kind of getting out of that mental like rut of like I can only do a certain thing. I mean, you're always going to have your favorite. My favorite is a 12-inch radius, 25.5-inch scale, like a modern Fender. That is my favorite. That being said, my new favorite guitar is a 10-inch radius. I think that thing is, what is that? Now I gotta know. What radius is a Fiore? That's what I want to know. I think we just went to Fiore, Italy on my Google search by accident. Anyway, my point is, the more you become flexible to stuff because you're willing to just try whatever, it will help a lot. See more details. Now, see, because you got me super, like, I don't even remember. I guess that's my point, though. I don't even care. I think it's 10. I don't know why I'm not seeing it on my little specifications sheet here. Because I clicked the wrong thing, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I can't find it fast enough to not be boring, because this is already probably super boring, just me sitting here trying to find it. But my point is, play as much stuff as you can, learn about as much stuff as you can, and I think, personally, it's an opinion, obviously, but I think you'll be better off by doing that. Ow. Yeah, for some. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I didn't scroll far enough. 10-inch. Yeah, it's a 10-inch radius. So that's my first 10-inch radius guitar, actually. Well, I take that back. I have a couple of Texas Toast guitars that are 10-inch radius as well. But the PRS one was my first one. I just actually got an email, and so the Fender Tone Master Princeton, I just got an email, is not going to be here until mid-November. I was supposed to have it this week, and apparently they put me off. So that sucks. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other stuff here. I want to do some stuff about speakers, because I feel like speakers are the most. Everybody, pickups and speakers to me make the biggest difference. That's kind of my thing. Eyeballing a Squier Paranormal with some of your pickups, dude. So the email I just got says that my other Squier, I have a Paranormal. No, it's not a Paranormal. The baritone is on the way. So I just got an email that said my baritone is coming with the two P90s in it, which is going to be killer. Yeah, for sure. Super fun. Sounds like a lot of people like that 7 1/4 stuff. Which is cool with me. I agree. I don't really care. The neck circumference doesn't stop me from loving to play my Strat. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just play the thing, man. It really does make... It's kind of funny. It really does make a lot of these videos. We have 1,000 videos on our channel. Over 1,000. And it makes them all kind of like, okay. I mean, this is a lot of hours and a lot of time and a lot of years to make all those videos, and I'm glad they're there now. But people will ask me and be like, I want you to make this video that breaks down this thing that you're barely going to be able to hear the difference, and I want to hear the comparison, and you have to do it clean, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh, I don't even want to make that video because it's like so like nebulous, like so. And then I might hear a difference, and then you might not hear a difference, and then somebody else might hear a difference or think they hear a difference. And then you get this whole, you know what I mean? It's just so lately I've just been like, no, I'm just going to make stuff that's fun. I'm going to make stuff that's fun and work on coming out with some new stuff. The new pickups, dude, these new pickups that we just came out with are really, really good. The new Bonneville singles. Actually, I think there's somebody in the comments, if he's still here, maybe he will remember who he is, but I'm building his pickguard today. So, we do loaded pickguards at DillonToxTone.com. This one has 2 hot 5s and a Super 8, like our silver Strat from a couple of weeks ago. So that's getting all wired up today. The only thing I got left is hook up the humbucker, because that was the last thing to come out of the wax pot today. So, and I got to write my name on everything, on all the pickups, and then that dude will be ready to ship tomorrow. A couple other things we did today, which is super cool, is we made, we don't sell very many of these, but this is a 51 P-base single coil. So that's going out in the mail tomorrow morning. We just finished that today. And then what else? Oh, I've got a cool, speaking of those of you, a bunch of people have been asking me about the Squier Jazzmaster. I have it. It is a part. We do make Jazzmaster pickups, and here is a set of them. This is actually for that Jazzmaster, although if you bought these right now, I'd just chuck them in a box and send them out to you. They'd ship right away. Anyway, so we've got a set of Jazzmaster pickups that are coming. Well, they're out. They're on the website already. But these are going to go in that white guitar. We've got a video coming. But I want to do something really special with that wiring, and I'm waiting for the parts on it. And one of my suppliers is in Tampa, Florida, and said they can't ship to me for another week because of the hurricane. So we've got a couple of things. Yes, Brian Phelps, that is yours. That is correct. So we've got a couple of things that are a little slow right now because of the hurricane. I did not anticipate it being a problem, but apparently it is. So it's funny that you say JBs are the best pickups because people take those out and put our center punches in every day of the week. If you want to end up on a radio station, that's funny. Yeah, center punches on hit records and radio stations all over the world. We did add the Bonneville single to the website on the loaded pickguard thing. And by request, I don't usually get these requests, but by request, I did add a brushed simulated aluminum pickguard. It's not aluminum. Those aluminum pickguards are really hard to get and really expensive. So we did not add an actual aluminum one. However, the brushed PVC one's pretty cool. These are going in that Jazzmaster, and we're gonna do like a Rickenbacker stereo wiring. I did a stereo Jazzmaster before. I built it actually from a video editor, Mike. And a couple of years ago, I built a whole guitar, and that was really, really cool. Curious what you're doing with the JM wiring. Yeah, we're doing stereo. Basically, the way it's going to work, if I can remember how to do it. It's been a long time since I did it, and I didn't write the schematic down, and I'm like, dang it, I should have wrote it down. So I got to redesign it. But basically, the idea is going to be you're going to be able to use a TRS cable to a splitter box on your pedal board, and that TRS cable is going to go in your guitar, totally passive, no batteries, and you'll be able to run the neck pickup to one amp and the bridge pickup to the other amp at the same time. That's going to be the idea. Then if you pull that cable out and you put a regular mono cable in, then it's just going to be a regular Jazzmaster. I think I can pull this off. I've done it before. I just have to remember how to do it. It's just a matter of sitting down with a sketch pad and writing out the schematic and making sure it works. Vox Guitars Rock, R.I.P. Loretta Lynn. Yes, thank you for bringing that up as well. She did pass away. Was it yesterday or this morning? Super, super sucks. But she was really old, so it's cool that she got to do a whole lot of stuff. Do you make something like an SD Invader? Yeah, our Quattro is like that, but it's a blade, and I don't really like those. I mean, I like them, but I don't like making them. I'm working on a really hot Invader style pickup right now. It's just not done. I've never gone down that whole Invader side of things. But I have the MGK Telecaster back here, the Schecter. And I bought that guitar on purpose to actually, well, I'll tell you the story. We were developing the Super 8 humbucker, and I was like, I need a single humbucker guitar to test this pickup in. So I ordered the MGK guitar. Then it took me a year to get, and we came out with the pickup. And then the guitar showed up. So anyway, but I've got another plan for the pink guitar back there. So, yeah, super cool. Will the new Bonneville pickups go well with the Super 8 humbucker, or should I stick with the SSS layout? I think they would go awesomely, actually. So where they fall output-wise is honestly square between the Hot 5s and the Classic 5s. They're like right in the middle. And they kind of bridge that gap. And as a result of it, they have that punchier low end, which I really, really like it. And I will tell you too, somebody said something about them lacking mid-range and not sounding stratty, and I'm like, well, your iPhone speaker probably needs to be replaced. But so when we do demos with, right now we're using the Black Star like almost exclusively. I do not ever touch the knobs on the amp. They are always exactly the same. The only time I touch the amp knobs is when I need to adjust the gain based on the output of the pickups if I'm trying to really be clean with it. But fortunately, this amp, you really have to screw it up to not get clean. Like, it's really good clean. So I don't really touch the knobs on the amp. That being said, with a little amp tweak, you can dial in or take out as much mid-range as you want with those pickups. They're really, really flexible, and they never get honky or muddy. So those are you can scoop them like John Mayer. You can push them like super mid-range, and they don't get nasally, and they never get muddy. Like, that's my biggest thing. I don't like that big boomy Telecaster neck pickup with the tone turned down too far sound. I hate that sound. They never get there. They stay super clear in the neck pickup, like super bassy sounding. I'm just really, 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 I'm so proud of them. So proud of them. They're and my son helped me with those. That was really a fun project me and him worked on together. So yeah, I really, really am stoked about those. I like the Fishman cut in two video. I do too. Bob, I think we're talking about the same thing with the Bonnevilles Go Good and an HSS. Absolutely. I totally would do that. Those pickups and a Super 8, like what's in this. Like this setup, these are Hot 5. This is Hot 5s in a Super 8, but I would put those Bonnevilles in a Super 8 all day long. And one of the things we do on all of these, so just so you know, I do this on all of the single hum, or hum single, however you want to say that, pick guards, is we do the little separate tone knob mod on all of them. So this bottom tone knob runs just this pickup, and this tone knob runs these two pickups. That way you can differentiate between. That's why you don't have to worry about like, should it have 500K pots? Should it have 250K pots? Whatever. We put 500K pots in it because the humbucker, and then you can just play with, this tone knob on these pickups by itself. That way it works a little bit better. So yeah, totally cool. Totally cool. We also made like 8 humbuckers this morning while I wound them all. And then I got another cool thing. Check this out. This is a raw nickel DAF. If you want me to do another short run of raw nickel DAFs, we will do it. I really like this look a lot, but we don't stock these covers very often because they're kind of hard to get. So if you want them again, we would do them again. I think they're really, really, really cool. This particular one is going upside down in a Telecaster build that I'm doing where the guitar is only going to have 5 strings. So I'll just leave it at that. You can figure it out. That's why it's raw nickel. Super cool. Best pickup for an Esquire. Our flat 6 bridge pickup. That's the one I would totally use for that. Yeah, because that gives you that 50s to early 60s broadcastery Telecaster sound. That's what I would do. The tone only matters as well as it's mixed. Dude, for real, right? You know what's funny about that? So I have a friend in Tennessee who has a recording studio, and he's done a lot of really neat things. And we were talking about that. Like, he's a Stevie Ray nut, and he really knows and sounds exactly like Stevie Ray. He's done some like tribute stuff, some like real actual Stevie Ray tribute stuff. And we were talking about that, and we're like, you listen to a record and you realize you have to realize that the guitar tone that you hear is not what it sounds like. The guitar tone is the result of a mix, which is the result of the interpretation of a producer and an engineer's ears, taken through an entire process that you now get and hear on a record. It has I'm not saying it has nothing to do with, but where the guitar tone started versus what you're hearing, 2 completely different things. That's why it's really difficult. I'll tell you a story about that. So he's a really, 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 really good Stevie Ray. He knows Stevie Ray stuff. I had an opportunity to spend some time with the John Cruz #1 SRV prototype thing that they derived from Stevie Ray's actual guitar. I got to spend an afternoon with it about a year ago. And I was playing that guitar and I'm like, this thing sounds like crap. It's like stupid. Like it doesn't. And I was talking to my friend who was there with me, and he knows all this stuff. And he's like, it's because you're playing it wrong. You can't play the guitar hard enough to make it sound like Stevie Ray, #1. And #2, the pickups you designed that you heard Stevie Ray in your head are based on a sound that you heard after it was produced. Where what we're hearing in the room is the guitar before it was produced. So in order for you to actually sound like Stevie Ray, you have to be able to play like him. So he took the guitar from me and he sounded exactly like Stevie Ray. And I played the same riff he did, and I tried to do it the same way he did, and I couldn't do it. And he could do it. The guitar sounds like garbage. To tell you the honest truth, it sounds like garbage. I didn't like it at all. My pickups that I designed based on the sound that I heard on the record sound nothing like that. They sound more Stevie Ray-y than Stevie Ray's actual guitar sounded. But it was because of those gaps that we don't think about. And those are the realities that I think a lot of people don't understand when it comes to this stuff. That's why it comes down to pick up a guitar, slam the chord. If it gives you the fuzzy feeling in your stomach, then buy the guitar. If it doesn't, don't. Like, really, really interesting stuff. Really interesting stuff. My Tele has a P90 in the neck, but if I have the switch in the middle position, it sounds thin and quiet. Switch the wires on one of the pickups. It sounds like it's out of phase. It takes a mountain of coke to play those Stevie Ray size strings. That's so funny. All right. Got about 5 minutes left. Yeah, we're doing a Keith Richards Macabre Tele. Actually, I have it right here. I'll show you. It's just one of these vintage Icon series relic guitars from China. I didn't order this. The guy that owns this guitar ordered it. I met him at NAMM. He plays in a really cool, really good Rolling Stones tribute band. And so he bought this and sent it to me. So we're going to actually hack the pick guard. I got all the parts coming to do this. We're going to hack the pick guard and put this pickup in here backwards like this with I'm going to cut the surround is going to go in there too. And then we are going to take this bridge off and put a 6 saddle bridge on it. Pull the 6 saddle off. I made a pickup for it the other day. I'm actually going to try to punch the 6 magnet out, the Lowy magnet out of it, because that's what Keith did. We're going to try to keep it as accurate as possible, except for the wiring. The wiring is like the 50s broadcaster wiring, and we're going to do something a little different with that to make it a little bit more usable for him. It's still going to get the same sounds, but it's the same bass sounds, but it's going to give him a couple other things that guitar doesn't have so that he can do more with it. So, yeah. Anyway, Stevie Ray played the way he did because of what he heard live. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So, anyway, super fun. This is going to be a neat guitar. Yeah, it's funny because you have to remember that a lot of these guys that we want to try to sound like, they set up their guitar because they played a certain way, and the result of that is their sound. That sounds stupid to say it like that, but we can't do it. There's no way. So there's no real point. It's like, try to get to the sound in your head, not to the sound that from somebody else. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is going to be fun. It's not like the coolest relic in the world, but I look at it kind of like those ZZ Top guitars where it's like, it's kind of crappy up close, but on stage and with the right stuff and making it look like the Macabre Tele, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, okay, so it's not like legit but it's going to be an awesome stage piece. Like, it's going to play the part in his band. I think it's going to be great. So it's going to be super fun. If you want a gold top, you should get the stripped down neck. So, Rusty, I was thinking about buying the gold top from the Stratosphere and building it, but I think I just want a real one. I've been wanting a regular Les Paul for a really long time, and I think I'm going to do it. I have not kind of pulled the trigger on it yet because I've got so much other stuff going. I was just telling Leslie yesterday, I'm like, we have so many guitars laying around, I don't have anywhere to put them all. So we shipped one yesterday. This guitar will be done pretty soon. The Jazzmaster will be done pretty soon. We've got the what is that thing? The Texas Toast guitar will be done pretty soon. And so, yeah. People buy those Texas Toast pickups or Texas specials to sound like Stevie Ray, but Stevie didn't play those. That's exactly right. He did not. His pickups are really weird. They're I have a set of them. They are 5.7K, and then the bridge pickup is 5.4, which is really interesting. And he wrapped foil around them and grounded it. Talking to Renee Martinez about that stuff, people want to like assign a bunch of voodoo to his rig, but really his rig was a necessity of being a road dog. All the things he did to that guitar were to keep it going. If he spilled beer or whatever other chemical on his pickup and it didn't work, they would just go to the local store and be like, hey, do you have a pickup I can buy? And they would chuck it in the guitar. The pickups weren't even always the same. They just made the guitar work. And so any kind of folklore that goes along with that is sort of stupid because he just played hard and he played a lot and wore out a lot of parts. And yeah, so I've gotten to learn a lot about that and from people who actually know. And it's pretty interesting because people want to, like I said, they want to assign a lot of folklore to it. It's just not the same. Kind of interesting. Let's see. Would you do any loaded pickguard? Let's see. Any chance that you would do, or any reason to do, a loaded tele pickguard or all the components that could be assembled as a whole? So we do a complete drop-in kit for that. You can go to DillonToxTone.com and it's got the pickups and a wired together control assembly that you can just put into your guitar. And the only thing you have to solder is the pickups to the switch. Everything else is assembled already. So we do that. We don't do the pick guards actually, but we do everything else. Yeah, super cool. All right, man. It is 5:02. I usually try to keep these on Tuesday for about an hour. I appreciate everybody hanging out. This has been super fun. Make sure you check out our news tomorrow at noon. We've got guitar gear news coming out. And then, of course, we've got our live stream with Leslie on Thursday night. That is more of a Q&A even than this. So thanks for hanging out, and we will see you tomorrow.